Hello, hello, everyone. Jennifer here with Canvas Sign Designs, and I am going to paint some teacher signs today. These are orders that I have that I need to get out. So I thought, while on live, I will paint them, and you guys I will show you guys how I do it. So I'm just pulling up the group really fast, just in case, and y'all are gonna have to forgive me because if I clear my throat 500 times because allergies. So if you are watching, say hello and let me know you are here. Just going to, it's a little bit taller. Hey, Carrie. Hey, Joey. Welcome, welcome. You are new, so welcome here. Every Tuesday, I try to go live at noon, and usually I'll do some sort of lettering or painting or both. Today, I'm going to do both. I have some teacher signs here. I'm showing you the wrong thing. 2 teacher signs, and these are kind of popular teacher signs that I've been doing for years. They are my notebook paper teacher signs. So I had some orders. Hey, Emily. I had some orders for these, and I am running behind. So I thought this is a good opportunity to show you guys how I do these. So, hey, Gail, good morning. Good morning, Artina. How are you? Okay, so these are going to be painted like notebook paper. So you see I have the 3 holes here and the 2, these are for my string. And I already penciled on this banner here. And now I'm gonna do my stripes for the notebook paper. And I do this, just gonna pull this around. You know, one of these days, you guys, I'm gonna get a fancier camera. So I do my stripes with markers. These are Tombow dual tip markers, and red and kind of like a turquoise blue. And I use just a ruler, and I kind of have my measurements down, how like wide I want these. And so I'm gonna do this all the way up. I drew my banner on there first because I'm gonna go around that, because these markers are really bright. Not bright, but they the paint does not cover them very well. So I've learned the hard way, and half the time I forget, and I do these first, and then I have to paint over it, which is fine. It's just hard to cover up, and so it just takes a little bit longer, a little bit more time. Sometimes I'll just kind of sand it off a little bit, but in these little pennants, it's really rather difficult. So how are you guys doing today? Where are y'all watching from? Hey, my friend Angie at Shabby Chic Vintage Chicks is watching. If y'all get a chance to go on and follow her page, she does lots of awesome crafts, and like all kinds of like wood crafts. She's very talented. It is, right now it is very sunny here, but it the forecast was supposed to rain. Like, it has every day until next Wednesday. Springtime in Texas, you know, you just never know. But so I'm just going around these, which takes a little bit longer. But when I first started making these, I've been making these signs since 2016. And when I first started making them, I painted these lines with a paintbrush and no ruler. Well, kind of, I used a ruler, but not the same way. I would just kind of mark the sides and then just paint a line across. And, you know, I was able to do it all right, but it definitely took a lot longer. So I always leave a little bit at the top here for the top of the paper, just like that. And then these dry pretty fast, and if you seal it, it's not going to go anywhere, but I do want to warn you, do need to use a spray sealer. If you use a brush sealer, it's probably going to smear the marker. But if you use a spray sealer, you're fine. Nothing is ever going to happen to these, and you will be great. Good morning, Miss Amy. How are you? Yes, I had to reschedule that. We lost a dear friend in a vehicle accident last week, and it was just a lot, and I just didn't feel like it was very respectful to show up, you know, on a Facebook Live. His family is, they're also, a lot of them are customers of mine, and I just didn't feel like, not only did I just not feel like, you know, partying on a Facebook Live, but I also just, out of respect for their family, I didn't think it was appropriate. So I didn't want to miss it, and I was really bummed, but I just felt like it was the right thing to do. So there's that. It's tough, you know, life is, every day is not promised to us, you know, and we take that for granted. I think a lot of times, I mean, I know I do. So it's, you know, it's been tough, like, you know, hard, but obviously I don't want to take away from the family. Like, it's hard to think, it's hard to, my heart breaks for them, you know. And you know, for the pieces that they have to pick up and, you know, move on, and it's just heartbreaking, you know. It's heartbreaking when it's somebody that's young and not supposed to go, you know. He had three boys. He had twin 25-year-old boys, and then I think maybe 22-year-old that's graduating from college this month. So they're just a really good family. He was captain of the fire department, and just, you know, it was a sad loss. Sad loss. So we'll all be okay, and he's in a better place, and he's with our Lord, and it was his time, but still doesn't make it easy, you know. So it was really hard to concentrate last week, and this week I am struggling to catch up, which is why I was like, okay, I had a different craft planned for today, but I was like, I have to get some orders done. So y'all are going to come on this little ride with me today and get some orders done. So these are just 2 notebook paper signs that I do. I'm not sure if these are on my website, but I know they are on Etsy, on my Etsy page. And so my Etsy is just same canvas sign design. So you can search me on there. And so I just do these lines with these markers. It makes a nice clean line, and it's faster, easier, and I feel like it looks better. So to me, that's a win-win. I'm trying to think. This one is going to have a little bit bigger of a space. I don't really know how I got a little bit off, but somehow I did. So maybe I should just do one. I should just do one more since they're going to the same person. Probably end of the year school teacher gifts. These are super cute, fun. I think just out of the ordinary, you know, a lot of people do these now, but back in the day when I started doing them, nobody did. So there's that. And good morning, Valerie. Oh, Amy, I'm sorry. Yeah, it isn't easy at all. I lost my dad 4.5 years ago, and obviously, you know, as an adult, it's actually even hard to handle. You know, like you're not prepared for, like, you know, those emotions and those feelings as an adult. So I can't imagine, like, just, you know, being younger and having to deal with that. It's a tough situation for sure. Okay, so I have my banners left, and I'm gonna do, I paint each pennant a different color. So the first one, I'm just gonna do a yellow here. And yellow has just been tricky for me lately. Like I haven't felt like I can ever find a yellow that I like. All of them have some issue with them for some reason or another. Let's see. So, Amy, you lost your mom a little over your, oh, yes. Yes, it's so, like, nobody can prepare you for the loss of a parent. I thought that I was prepared for it, but like, even if you know, like in your mind, it's probably going to happen, and you know all that, it's still such a crazy set of emotions that you're not prepared for. You know, like it's very, 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 very weird, you know, because you feel ways that you weren't prepared to feel. You know, I don't know how else to explain it other than it's just, I definitely wasn't prepared for it. So, you know, it's just, you almost feel like an orphan a little bit, you know, like you lost your identity. And then talking to people, like I get that that's pretty normal. I'm clipping off. Sometimes you get like a stray bristle, and it drives me nuts, you guys. I'm not like the typical crafter. I'm a very particular crafter, and those drive me nuts whenever I get those little bristles. You know what I'm gonna do before I get to painting? I'm gonna go ahead and get these names on here so that I don't have to worry about doing that when this is wet. So what I did was I went and, you know, my customer gave me the names of the teachers, and I went into Procreate on my iPad and I created a template, just a lettering template. And I just do this because it just kind of gives me an idea of like layout and position, and I could pencil it on here, but because this is marker, sometimes if I needed to erase it or something, I might erase some of the marker. And Yeah, yeah, Amy. Let's get back to the signs. No, you didn't bring anybody down. I was talking about it. Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Tammy. Yeah, it's, we all go through it, and it's, you know, to me, it's very therapeutic to do things like this during those times, like just to kind of get into a project or some art, and just allow your mind to escape just a little bit. I have found that very therapeutic. So, I hope that, anybody watching, if you're struggling with something like that, just pick up a craft of any kind, anything that interests you, and just kind of just try to get really involved in it. It takes your mind off of things, and it's just really good for you, no matter what craft it is. I just think crafting of any kind is really art therapy, right? So right here, let's say, okay, so I make my template, and just basically to get the spacing, I don't want to have to erase and accidentally maybe erase the marker. Not that these will erase really easy, but if you had to erase a lot, you might. And, trying to get these straight lines to match up is going to be very difficult. So I just make a template for myself, and I just pencil that on first. And then that way I know my spacing is good. Everything is right with the world. And then I can do my sign. Even though I do hand lettering and I can pencil things on and probably do fantastic, I still, I still have off days or days where, I don't like this spacing, or I don't like, something. And to me, it just wastes more time to sit and erase it and re-pencil it on there. If I just make a template for myself, then I can just transfer it on there, and I know it's good, and I'm good to go. So to me, it's just kind of a faster, easier way. It's still my own lettering. It's just I do it digitally first and then print it out. Christy, these are Tombow dual brush markers. So I like these just because they have, you can use probably any markers. I like these because they have kind of a, they have this tip here, and I've used them, and I know that they aren't going to smear, or they're not going to mess up. Now, you do need to use a spray sealer when you are done with it. Don't use a brush sealer with the markers, because a lot of times the brush sealer will smear the marker, and you don't want that to happen. So, I would say any kind of marker is fine. These are water-based markers. So I'm not a particular fan of Sharpies because they are alcohol-based. And so if you have like wood sign where you have like the wood grain or something, sometimes those alcohol-based markers will bleed. And you don't really get that with these kind of markers. So the type of marker does matter. You could use a paint pen if you had like a kind of a thin paint pen. I like the markers because I don't have to constantly like shake them up and pump them. Just for this particular thing, I don't use these to like do any lettering or anything like that on signs, because the pigmentation isn't super dark. So it works great for the red and the blue for this, but like the black is not like super dark pigmented black, if that makes sense. So, water-based markers you can use on signs. You just need to use a spray sealer when you seal them. So I clip this on here. I know my spacing, flip it on here. And this is just graphite paper. And you can get, it's kind of like a carbon paper. Tracing paper is also what it's called. And so what we do is just put it shiny side down. These last forever. I've had this piece for probably a year and a half. I use it all the time. And it is still going strong. So you can get them for under $10. You can get like a 9x12 sheet. They come in all different sizes. You can get them on Amazon. Just be careful. Some of the ones that you can get on Amazon, they work fine, but they just are very carbony. So you have to be very careful when you are tracing that you're not like rubbing your hand on the paper, because sometimes just the paper just touching your sign can leave a little black residue. I like the tracing paper from like the little nicer brands. There's some I have linked in my Amazon favorites, Amazon store front, and those are good. There's kind of Hobby Lobby that are good. They're just like a gray, kind of a gray graphite paper. So they're not as black. Some of the ones on Amazon, you can get like a big thick, stack of, 50 sheets of it, but it's like black. And anywhere it even almost touches, it's going to get that like black residue mark. Now, you can see it just transferred nicely. This one got a little, if you can see that little mark right there. And so it will erase, but, any savings that you can create, time savings that you can create for yourself, right? Like it's, you don't want to have to do something if you don't have to do it, basically. So now we are going to do the same thing on this. And this is right here. And I just, I clip it on here because sometimes when you're tracing, you might accidentally move the paper and shift it. And it's really, sometimes, depending on what you're doing, it's hard to kind of get it lined back up properly. A name like this, you probably could, but if you were doing a design or something like that, it's more complex, it might be a little bit hard. So, and I'm just going over this with a pencil, or you could use like a little stylus, anything, the end of a paintbrush, whatever. And this is just to get my spacing on well. I tell anybody that I teach lettering to that always pencil your stuff on first. It's still your lettering. It's not cheating. But I just find that if you letter it on first, you can kind of get, you get all your spacing right and everything before you take the marker to it. There's nothing worse than lettering something, writing on it with your marker, and then realizing like you got your spacing off or whatever. And I just don't, there's been so many times where I've done that, and it's just like, you have to go back and fix it, and it's just not worth it for me. So I always letter. So you can see that's that. And it just kind of gives me an idea of where to put everything. I probably should have put that a little closer together, but oh well, we are where we are. It's kind of, oh, I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so now that I have that out of the way, I can paint these little banners. So I'm going to start with the first one. That's going to be yellow. I'm mixing these two yellows together because I want it a little bit darker than that lighter one. And depending on what paint you use and all that kind of good stuff, you're probably going to have to do a couple of coats of each. So I just get either a flat tipped brush or you could use an angled brush. That way you can kind of just get into the points. And I'm always flipping my signs around. I flip it around to get the best angle, the best reach. No sense in like awkwardly like, you know, trying to get it together. So anytime I have like orders that are the same or same colors, I try to do them all at the same time just for efficiency purposes. So while you have your paint out, while you're already doing that design, it's just faster to do all of the designs at once. So does anybody have any good summer plans coming up? Any good vacations? I don't, but you know, I would love to hear about yours. We're probably going to be putting our house on the market this summer. I'm not saying probably, we are going to. And so there's all that good stuff to get ready that I'm not excited about. Oh, bye, Diane. Thank you for stopping by and saying hello. All that fun stuff to get ready. I'm not looking forward to all of that, but it will be worth it. We aren't moving far. We're just moving about 30 minutes away on a little bit more land. And I'm going to build a workshop. I'm so excited. And get my business out of my house. So have more room, more space, all of the things. So I'm looking forward to that. All right, so that is my yellow, and I think that yellow is that's gonna work for me. So next we are gonna do purple. And sometimes, like, I have these set colors that are that I have in the example picture. Sometimes teachers will ask me to change up the colors to match their classrooms. So I've done all kinds of like color combos of this, and there's some really cute ones out there. Floating around the teacher atmosphere. Hey, Jackie. We got a nephew's wedding near Lake Michigan in August, seeing family and going across the Mackinac, hopefully I said that right, bridge. That's fun. That will be so fun. That's definitely something to look forward to. I love things like that. I have a good friend who lives in Michigan. I have a friend and then another kind of a business friend, I guess, if you will. They're both business friends, but one I am actually friends with more so. I don't know why I'm feeling the need to explain the relationships to you guys, but I know two people that live in Michigan. We'll just say that. And yeah, August, I bet, will be nice in Michigan. Won't be so cold. Jackie, where are you at? I can't remember. Even though I just mailed you your membership sign yesterday, I can't remember what. Aren't you like in Illinois or something like that? We'll see if my memory is serving me good. Probably it isn't, but you know, Ohio maybe, somewhere in the mid states. Good morning, Marie. How are you? Tammy, you're going to Myrtle Beach in July. Oh, I'm so jealous. Marie, didn't you just get back from Myrtle Beach? Is that where y'all went, Myrtle Beach? Oh, that's right, Jackie. You do live. Oh, I'm such a ding dong. I knew that. I knew that. I knew that. She actually lives close to me, somewhat close to me. I'm silly. I don't know. I'm not right. I forgot you did live there. You live about, oh, I don't know, an hour from me, Jackie. She's a fellow Texan. So that is that's going to be a little long drive out to Michigan. Well, I forgot I am supposed to go. I am supposed to go in June, at the end of June, to Arkansas for a kind of a business. I mean, it is a business trip, but it's I kind of have a group of friends that we all met in a business group together, and we're planning a little girls trip to kind of do some business stuff at the end of June. I haven't told my husband about that yet, so I probably should do that. You know. So that will be fun. That will be nice and relaxing. Just probably about 3 days. But other than that, that's all I have planned. You don't drive, Jackie. Air flight was reasonable. That's good. I love driving when I like I love road trips. I love road trips. I usually try to drive everywhere if I can, but sometimes it's just, it does take a lot longer and it takes more out of your trip. And so depending on where you're going, what you're there for, sometimes when I fly, I'm like, okay, why don't I just fly everywhere? But I feel like by the time you leave, you have to be at the airport. You have to, wait around and get on the plane and wait around some more and then get there and then get your bags. Like, I feel like by the time you do that whole process, that like you might as well drive. Like it's the same amount of time. That's what I feel like. But, you're not as worn out when you get there as if when you drove. Let's see. You guys got some good plans. Dawn says, it's been so long since I've been to the beach. Too far inland in Arkansas. Where are you, Dawn, in Arkansas? I would love to go to the beach. I want to go back. I went to Florida last year. In April of last year for a business trip, and it was the first time I've ever been to Florida. We went to Destin, and it was so nice. It was so nice. I loved it. Loved it. Oh, outside Little Rock. I'm going to go to, at the end of August, Batesville. So that's what, like that. That's about an hour from Little Rock, huh? Ish. Right? Let's see. Tammy's going to Nashville in September. That's fun. I've not ever been to Nashville. Artina's going to be going to the flea market craft show where we camp for 2 weeks. That's your vacation. Where's that at, Artina? Where's that craft show? Yeah, Marie, I love road trips. There's just something so exciting about road trips. I don't know why. And then I feel like then you can stop along the way and you can like see other places. And I don't know. I like to be in control of the trip. I don't like to go on planes because I'm not in control. I'm not in control of what time we leave. Like I don't want to be like, we have to be at the airport at blah blah time. If we're not, that's just too stressful for me. Like I just like to go, you know what, this is what time I want to leave, and if something happens and we need to leave a little bit later, like it's all good. Like I just don't like, I don't know. I don't like somebody telling me I have to be somewhere. It's probably because I'm a small business owner. We get very used to being able to do whatever we want. I mean, not whatever we want, obviously, but like, you know, we can do things on our own time, basically. I don't know. I mean, that's not completely true. If you take orders or, you know, like I have groups that I have to report to and do lives and things like that. But like it's still different. But I like to be in control. I don't want to, like, if I'm having a good time, I want to go, you know what, we want to stay 30 more minutes, or we want to stay an extra hour, or, you know, this is really purple, but it doesn't look purple because this light is like so LED on my, or the camera. So it kind of distorts the colors just a little bit sometimes. So just a little FYI. Oh, your daughter lives near Batesville. So I have a group of friends that I have a business, or I was in a business mastermind group, and one of the girls in my group lives in Batesville, and so we've all just kind of stayed friends, and we have like a little group chat, and we just talk about business stuff, and then just, you know, it's just nice if you own a business to have friends that own a business too, because it can be hard sometimes. Like your family can get really tired of hearing you talk about business stuff, or they don't really understand. Like a lot of people think, oh, you own a business, you get to do whatever you want. That must be so nice. You just get to paint all the time. And although it is wonderful and I love it and I wouldn't trade it for the world, that's not necessarily true. You actually do way more like other things other than like I do more marketing and, you know, like writing and social media posts, which is marketing, like all that kind of stuff. You end up doing way more than the actual business stuff, the craft. So it's just, it gets overwhelming sometimes. It gets hard. It gets, and, unless you have, and it's just like with anything, unless you have people that actually do it, that you can kind of talk to and just, just a friend that understands, I guess, basically people that support you and understand and can help encourage you. It's just nice to have. So we've all stayed really good friends, and we are going to get together at her house and have like a little business / friend time. So I'm looking forward to it. If you, let's see, y'all are doing some fun stuff. Let's see, you said your daughter lives near there. So she owns the Tea Crate. It's in Batesville. It's like a drive-through. It's like Starbucks, but for tea. If you've ever heard of that. That is my friend that owns that. So it's really a cool business. She's amazing business owner, smart, and we're gonna hang out at her house. So I'm excited about that. Get some of these stray bristles off here. Let's see, Jackie. No, I got yours. June and September. Let's see, Artina. Carpool karaoke. Marie, you're probably really fun to have a road trip with. Really, really fun. In Friendship, Indiana. Well, Artina, that sounds fun. A craft show 2 days. That is so fun. And Tammy, you definitely can pack more when you do it. a road trip. You don't have to worry about checking in any bags or sitting near any strangers that are weird, right? Amy, you've never flown? Wow. I've flown, but not a ton. I mean, I have flown a good bit, but not a ton. I don't care for it. I'm just gonna say I just like to drive. Let's see. Yes. Yeah, and then you can bring like food and a case of water. You don't have to like, I drink water all the time, so you don't have to like buy expensive stuff on the road, right? Like you can pack your own stuff and not have to like buy things on the road. Well, you know, flying is good. My daughter, my 26-year-old, she loves to travel, and she likes to fly. I mean, I think she doesn't mind a road trip, but she likes to fly, and so sometimes I'll fly because like she goes with me on some of my business trips, and I'll end up flying because, you know, well, we did it. We flew once. One time. The other 2 times we drove. But my 17-year-old, she loves road trips. Like loves road trips. So any chance, you know, if she's going with us anywhere, we don't really, honestly, truth be told, I don't vacation a lot. Not because I don't want to, but just because I haven't just been in that space in life, you know, like had kids or just, you know, I have traveled, but I don't like, we don't necessarily do vacations every year because, you know, some years I just can't afford it, or some years, you know, we just have things going on. I have a 5-year-old, so I have a 26-year-old, 17-year-old, and a 5-year-old. So I've been raising littles for like a really long time. So, you know, it's just hard to travel when you have little ones at home. So usually when we go on trips, if we go on trips, it's like somewhere like in Texas. There's a lot of places in Texas to go, or, you know, somewhere kind of close by, not like super far and fancy. So I have been to some fun. I've been on an Alaskan cruise before, but that was in 2004. It was a long time ago. And I've been to Cancun, you know, some places like that, but not anything. California, not anything super fancy. It's just, you know, maybe one day I'll get there. I'll get to that place in life where I can afford to travel and have fun and whatever. But for now, it's just some road trips to some places nearby. I think my time is coming. My time will come. Yeah, my husband isn't like super like wanting to travel all the time. He was in the military for a long time and traveled to like almost every country. He was an Army Ranger, so he did a lot of like classified jobs, and so he's done a lot of traveling, and so he's like, I'm good. I'm like, I'm not. I don't know if I want to go to other countries, but you know, just because I don't want to be on the plane that long. Really, that's why. Let's see. Gail has a craft business, and my husband and I go to craft events. That's a good way because then it's tax deductible, right? It's a business trip. That's what I do a lot of times. I'll make like a vacation out of a business trip. And That's the way to do it, really. That is the way to do it. And that's nice that y'all can go together and, you know, it's work, but it's also fun. Oh yeah. So you know the books, the marketing, the all of the things. Yeah. I used to say, like, I just wanted to paint. I just wanted to paint. And now I have to be like a human resources person. I have to be a marketer, a bookkeeper, what else? Like a photographer, a content creator, which is like a writer. Like you have to do all of the things. And I'm like, I just wanted to paint. I just wanted to paint. I paint about 30% of the time. The rest of the time is spent at my computer, just doing emails and social media and all of the social media. Any of y'all that are business owners, you know, when I started in 2014, it wasn't like that at all. I started my business in 2014. It was like, you just had to have a Facebook. Everything you posted, everybody would see. No big deal. They're all good. And you have an Etsy. Now it's definitely not the same. Not the same situation. And all the messages and all the places you gotta check, and it's crazy. I have like 9 places every day, multiple times a day, that I have to check for messages. It's like, it's so crazy. Let's see. Amy said you would travel, but with 5 kids between us, it's hard. Yes. Yeah, and expensive. Like just going to eat is insane. You just went on your first adult trip last summer to the beach, and oh, it's so nice. That is so nice. I know. And then you're coming home and it's like back to reality, the the hangover, the vacation hangover, where they say like, coming home back to re-entry. That's what it is. Re-entry. My old business coach used to say it's re-entry. Like re-entry is hard. Like getting back into like mom mode, and like, everybody needing something from you at all times. It's definitely nice to go on a vacation and get away from that. But I feel like a lot of times by the time you start like to kind of like unwind, it's time to go home. Like it kind of takes a few days to kind of get in that, mode of, oh, I don't have to answer to anybody. I don't have to do anything for anybody but me. Then it's time to go home. But it is glorious. If I had my way, I would do that. I think, 4 times a year would be really nice, right? Like, I think we need it. We need that. Dawn says it gets expensive for a whole family to fly. Yes, it gets expensive for a whole family to even go out to dinner. All your kids are in their 20s now. I know. I have one left. Well, a 17-year-old. She's graduating in a couple weeks from high school. So, Tammy went to Cancun in her mid-20s. That's when I went. And that was a very long time ago. Very, very long time ago. I've been to Las Vegas a couple of times. Again, both of those were in my 20s. Alaska was in my 20s. I had a good 20s, I think, one child, yeah, Debbie, you're the same. Your husband isn't a traveler. Yep. I mean, my husband will if I'm just like, hey, come on, but he's just not like, I got to do this. Like I would travel all the time. Hey, Tina, how are you? Welcome. We're talking about vacations and is anybody going anywhere fun? And so we are just on the chat about vacations. Now, while this is drying, I'm going to go ahead and letter the names. on here. And then I'll go back and decorate these and then do the like outlining, that kind of fun stuff. Ooh, Germany, Gail, that's nice. Your junior year in high school. Yeah. My oldest, my 26-year-old went to Spain after she graduated high school. They did like a trip with her Spanish class. They went to Spain, and she is going back to Spain in September, and she's going to live there for, well, she's going to live there for 3 months. I'm hoping she'll come back. She's going to go ever since she graduated, and she majored in Spanish, so she's bilingual, and she just loved it so much. So she works for herself, so she can go wherever she wants, and yeah, live the good life. She doesn't have kids yet, so get it all out of your system. That's what I tell her. Because once you have kids, yeah. Oh, you're from Ontario, Canada. Well, welcome, Tina. Welcome, welcome. We are glad you are here. Okay, so I'm gonna letter on top of my pencil lines basically, and then I'm just using my favorite lettering marker, this Faber-Castell. This is India ink, so it's not a paint pen. It's very pigmented, so it works very, very good. Again, just if the only thing about it is that you need to do a spray sealer with it if you use it. So I just got a little Wi-Fi signal on my computer, so I really hope that it doesn't, that the signal is good. And I didn't say hey to Kayla and Becky. Y'all are watching. Y'all are still watching. Hello, hello. So I'm just going over these here. This is my favorite lettering marker for signs. I've been using this again since 2016. I love it. So I'm going through once, and then I will go back through and just kind of thicken up these down strokes here. And I just gradually do it a little bit at a time. This also works good for signs because it's big. Now this sign is a little smaller, so sometimes I use different pens when I do this sign. There's another pen that I use sometimes when I do it, but so it's just really important when you are doing hand lettering that you just take your time and go slow. If you start trying to go fast, you are going to more than likely mess up. So slow is the name of the game when you're hand lettering. Think of lettering, you know, a lot of people like to think of lettering as, you know, it's just your writing. And so you want to kind of, out of habit, do what you would normally do if you were writing. And it's really not the same. It's more of an art form in itself. It's more like drawing. And so you really need to take your time as if you were drawing or painting something. And it's hard because your brain wants to tell you that you're just writing. So I think that's why a lot of people struggle with hand lettering, is because they just think they're not any good at it because they try to do it the same way as they would, just just write on something, just write a note, or just do regular handwriting. And when it doesn't look the same way, they get frustrated. But it's just a whole art form in itself. And so if you can kind of look at it that way and treat it that way, you won't be so hard on yourself about it. So even though I penciled this on first, you see I'm just still going over this very slowly. I need to, so these markers come in like a brush tip. So they will look like, the tip of it will look like this when you get it. But after you use it for a while, it gets a little like bendy or flimsy. So I always just, I take the little scissors and I just cut the tip off of it, because it bugs me when it's bendy and flimsy and I feel like I have less control over it. So I just take some scissors. I just cut it off. And then it works a lot better. So it's kind of starting to get like frayed at the end because you're using it on like rough surfaces, like painting, like a painted wood sign. So it just tears it tears up the fibers on the marker a little bit more, or a lot more actually. Just like cut all the way around it, make sure it's even and there's not some crazy piece sticking out. But see how much like thinner that is after I trimmed it. I don't know if you noticed, but it's just more precise and I can get a cleaner line. And those of you that are in my lettering club, the Happy Lettering Club, we are doing sign lettering on Sunday. So I'll kind of go into more details and more in depth on all of the things. But I always use this one whenever I do black. And again, I will preface, use a spray sealer, please. Because if you try to use a brush sealer, it will smear. See, that's just a lot. These three letters are a lot cleaner than these because I was able to just get more precision on the tip of this once I trimmed it off. So I should have done that to begin with, but oh well. I just want to do this one thing. I'm like flipping it, flipping it around just to make sure that all my curves are just even and all this kind of stuff. I've been doing this for a while, so I can be a little bit more particular with it. I haven't always been, that, but after you do this for a while, you notice everything. That you notice all the little things. Thank you, Amy. I've worked a lot of years to get my lettering to look that way. I am a bit of a perfectionist, which I say is a good thing as long as it's something that you're enjoying doing. Like, I wouldn't be as good as I am at hand lettering if I wasn't a perfectionist. However, as long as you aren't hard on yourself in the process, right? Being a perfectionist is not good when you are tearing yourself down or feeling, you know, or you know, not happy, or it's just making you like aggravated doing it. Does that make sense? Like, you know, you need to. It's all learning. You're not going to be perfect at it at first, but keep trying and working on it and trying to improve, and you'll get there. I spent lots of hours just trying to like make things look perfect. And although nothing is ever going to look perfect, it also gave me a lot of practice. A lot of practice, a lot of studying the shapes of the letters, figuring out to kind of be careful sometimes, because going through and trying to do these curves, sometimes it will just get bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm in concentration mode, sorry. So I didn't start out lettering like this, okay? Just want y'all to know. I did a post a few weeks back, and then I think I posted more in my lettering club, more pictures in my lettering club, but I did post one or two on my main page of some signs that I did in the first year of my business, and yeah, lettering has definitely changed. So don't assume because somebody letters good like this that they just are a natural talent and it just must come easy to them, because that is definitely not the case. I spent lots and lots of time practicing this to get it to look like this. It's not the piece of advice that people like to hear, right? Practice. You want like a quick, easy fix, you know, like some secret. And although there are things that you can do to drastically make it better, just right from the get-go, it also just takes a lot of practice. So I think a lot of people just give up when they're not immediately good at it, and they just assume they're not good at it. And it's just, that is not true. So, and it makes me sad that people are giving up on it so, you know, so easily, and assuming they're just not good at it. I'm like, no, that's not the case, I promise you. So I created I have an online sign lettering course that just kind of breaks everything down with sign lettering and what I use and how I do it and all of the things. But I also started a lettering club, and it's called the Happy Lettering Club, where we just kind of work on all aspects of lettering every month. So maybe not all aspects every month, but you know what I mean. Because it's a lot of practice. And so if you are, you know, wanting to get better, you need that continued practice. I kind of help them and tell them what to focus on and like what to do. We kind of go in detail about the shapes of your letters and the, you know, all of the things. And I give them practice sheets you know, it's just when you're learning something new, sometimes it's nice to get that guidance or somebody to just tell you what to work on. I kind of feel that way with business, with business stuff. Like there's always so much to do that sometimes we get when it's us doing the thing, we get very caught up and you get very overwhelmed. Like, oh my God, there's so many things to work on. I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do first. I don't know what I need to focus on, what I need to work on. So it's kind of nice to just have somebody outside there just kind of come in and say, no, don't worry about all that other stuff. Just only work on this and this. And you're doing good, or this is normal, or, you know, all of the things, right? Because we don't know if we're on the right path or whatever. So that's why I started that lettering club, is just to kind of help give people that continued lettering support. Because you can take a course or you can take a class, right? But then you get home and practice and you're like you get overwhelmed on what to practice. You know, it just, and then you give up. And I don't want to see people giving up, because knowing how to letter gives you such freedom in so many different areas of crafting. And if you can learn how to do it, it can save you so much money, because then you're doing your own lettering. You're not having to buy files and templates and all of the things. And then maybe you can get more business because you can customize stuff. Because, you know, Hobby Lobby and everybody wants to sell all of the things now that handmade businesses used to make, and it's you have to have a way to stand out, really, and being able to customize things is a good way to do that. So now after I do the initial lettering, I always just kind of go back through and look, and probably all unnecessary, but anyway, that's that. Yes, Dawn, my curves get really thick sometimes too. If you're not careful and you don't watch it, it's very easy to do. So I always tell people, like, less is more. Like, if you like the way that it looks, just leave it alone. Leave it alone, because chances are you're gonna risk making it too big if you're not careful. We are our worst critics, Gail. Like, I even am that way with myself, and I try not to be, you know, but it's, you know, yes, Amy, the two Amy's and I are perfectionists. Yes, that's what she always says. Like, she's what'd she say? She's fussy. She's fussy about things. I am too. I'll tell everybody else not to be fussy about it, but I'm fussy about it. About my own stuff, though, not about other people's stuff. It's hard not to be. It's hard not to be. And I think it's okay, as long as you're not, you know, taking the fun out of the craft, right? Practice helps everything. Like, anything new that you start, like, you're not ever going to be just perfect at anything. Like, you know, I always say that, like, we would never tell our kids, like, oh yeah, you're not very good at that sport, you probably should quit. Like, we would never say that to our kids, but why do we say that to ourselves? You know, like, we expect us to, like, immediately pick up on things, but we don't expect our kids to. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, we just need to, you know that other people aren't seeing the parts of, you know, where you struggled or what you had trouble with. They're not seeing all that. So you need to quit pointing it out. Don't ever point it out to people, because I promise you they probably don't see it. Now I'm just taking some white and I'm just going to do some little accent lines on here. I just feel like it just kind of, it adds just an extra fun. It's also a really good way to camouflage any mistakes that you make if you ever feel like you need to. because when it's just black and white, it's like black and white. You can see every little thing. But when you add some like accents in there, it do you see the difference? Like it just distracts your eye a little bit, and it takes the focus off of the lines, the black and white where they meet, and it just it takes the focus, I don't know, just takes the focus off of that. So you don't notice that your lines are too thick or whatever. So if you're having trouble with keeping your lines thin or whatever, just throw some accents on there. See the difference that makes? You can't notice like how, you don't even pay attention to how thick the lines are here, but here you notice it. So some accents are always best. I usually, for the most part, I do accents on everything, unless there are a few signs where I don't. You want to keep your accents light though, and not too dark. Because if they are dark, then it makes it look really busy. So you can kind of keep it light. Some people do this with a paint pen. I, however, am just not good at it. I think it looks good if you can do it with a paint pen, but I started out with paintbrush, and so, you know, it's hard to break those old habits. That's what I'm used to. There's that. So see just the difference, like it just kind of softens it up a little bit. Let's see. And I'm sure you've heard me say this before, Dawn, but you know, if you ever, for anybody that hasn't, you know, if you're lettering and you accidentally get too thick on a certain line, a certain letter, just go back through and thicken all the other letters to match that one. I know it will make you mad. You won't want to do that because you got the one too thick, but because nobody really will know that you got it too thick. But if you leave that one thick letter in there, then what is the first thing anybody's going to notice? You know, oh, that R is really, really thick. But if you just thicken up the rest of the words, then it just kind of looks like you meant to do that. So if that happens, that's just my word. I've had to do that many times. I still struggle with that from time to time. Like it happens. Like no matter how much you do this, like you still have off days or still mess up because nobody's perfect. Like I'm just still mad at myself because I left too big of a space here. I should have put them closer together. So when I look at this, that's all I see. That the miss is too high. The miss is too high and this should go up. That's like what my eyes see, but you guys probably wouldn't notice that if I hadn't pointed it out because you're just looking at everything else, right? So is your customer or the person that you're, you know, making the sign for. Gail, you're a procrastinating perfectionist. I think I'm a little bit the same way. I'm definitely a procrastinator. Definitely. I always think I have more time than I do. I'll be like, oh, it's fine. I'll have plenty of time to do that. No, you won't. You are definitely not going to have plenty of time to do that because 5 other things are going to happen that you're not planning on, and now you don't have enough time and all of the things. That's what happens to me. Now I'm going to paint inside these little pennants real quick. Just going to do like a little Look at that. Cute, right? I know they are. They are. But, you know, everybody loves like, you know, any signs that are personalized, right? Like it's just so much nicer because you know that person took the time out to either order that just for you, like it was just for you, right? Like, or make that just for you. Um, so no matter what it is, like anytime, you know, if you personalize something, it just shows that that person took a little bit of extra time out for you. You know, it's not just a gift card or whatever, which gift cards are great. And sometimes we got to do the gift card route, but you know, it is nice because I know how to hand letter. I do gifts all the time for teachers or what, you know, little kids in the class or whatever, because I don't have to spend a lot of money and I can just use, you know, like make them something with their name on it or whatever. And it's, doesn't cost me a lot, but it's personalized. And so a lot of times I'll do like wrapping or a gift bag with somebody's name on it. And it just lets them know that you took a little bit, or maybe a card, you took a little bit of extra time to do something just for them, because we don't see that as much anymore. So you could just get, you know, you could give just a whatever gift, but if you have it all wrapped up pretty in a bag with your name hand lettered on it, it almost doesn't matter what the gift is, like just the bag itself is the gift. So learn to hand letter. And most people can't hand letter, so you know, it's not something that everybody knows how to do. So even if you're not as good as you want to be, like to other people, you're so much better than you think, because they can't do that at all. So for them, like that's really like it's an amazing thing. Like they think it looks awesome. You know, they're not looking at other people trying to learn how to hand letter, right? Like they're not watching other hand lettering artists all the time and comparing you to them like you are doing. And chances are you're a lot better than what you think you are. Because when we're trying to learn how to do something or trying to accomplish something, right, we compare ourselves to everybody else. I mean, I do it too, like with other, I don't do it now necessarily with hand lettering, although sometimes I do look at certain people and I'm like, oh, I wish I could hand letter like that. But like I do it with other things, like with business, or, you know, so and so has so many followers. Why can't I get any? You know, like it's just human nature. We all do it. But I have to go, you know what? God has them on a different path than He has me. You know, their circumstances are different. Some people are able to practice more, you know, because wherever they are, you know. So it's, you know, don't compare yourself. Comparison is a thief of joy. Do not compare yourself to everybody else, and because their path is different than yours. You just worry about you. That's what we tell our kids, right? And then we don't do it. We're so guilty about that. Telling our kids not to do things that we do. Yes, personalized gifts are just so good. Like especially like ornaments, especially like the holidays. So good. Amy said, my daughter's friends used to request me to put their names on their coffee cups every morning before school when they were in high school. That's so cute. See? to them, you were awesome, even though you were probably comparing yourself to somebody else. Like, you're still, you know. Gail says, I used to cross stitch when my kids were little and make teacher gifts. My eyes don't focus, so unable to cross stitch. I do miss it. I've had teachers tell me that you still have. Oh, that's so sweet. Yes, like when you go to somebody, like, you know, or just think, sometimes I'll think, you know, like, you know, one year when I used to make more like custom type stuff, I was like, you know, it's like, how cool is it that I'm making things that people are giving as gifts, and my work, you know, albeit it's not, you know, fancy, whatever, you know, there's nothing, you know, no Bob Ross sign. But like, my signs are hanging in people's houses and they have good memories associated with them. They made people feel good, feel special. And like, that's a pretty cool thing, right? Like when you can say, like, something that you made somebody happy. I don't know. To me, that's just, oops, that polka dots were really big. To me, that's what it's all about. I used to be, so I'm going to make these other bigger so that that doesn't look like a crazy mess. This paintbrush is so old that it's supposed to be like a round, kind of a round brush. It's supposed to look like a shorter version of this, but it is literally from, it probably used to look like that. It's from like maybe 2014, 2015, but it's so hard that it works perfect for polka dots. So in case you were wondering. But I used to I was a nurse for an OBGYN for years and years and years before I started this business. And so my patients a lot of times would bring me gifts, and, you know, they would bring me, like, one lady did a cross stitch of like a little ornament, and it was like a baby footprint, like it was pink and white, and she made it and gave it to me for Christmas, and I still hang it on my Christmas tree every single year. I can't even remember what her name was, but like, to me, that's like, it was special. It was important. Like, she took the time out to make that and to has the year on it, and give that to me. And I just feel like, I don't know, that's just special to me. So it's, handmade gifts are nice. Okay, now I'm going to do some little swirlies. Hopefully this will be. Sometimes I do this with a paint pen. Just kind of depends on my mood. Just do a few like they're coming off the page so that there's not like this awkward space. And Gil, I know what you mean about the eyes focusing. I have the same issue. I mean, obviously I can wear these and it can help, but it does, like, certain days are very hard. My eyes don't focus the same way they used to. So when you're doing something very tedious and small, like cross stitching, gotta have good focus for that. Some days I'm like, okay, I'm wearing my reading glasses and I still am, it's hard to focus. I think too, like when you do something like this, like so where you have to like focus your eyes on, like kind of detailed painting or lettering. It wears your eyes out faster. That's what I feel like. That could not be true, but feels like that's true. If those muscles wear out faster, is that a thing? Overuse, muscle overuse. Can't really see that so much. So I'm just gonna kind of throw like some, I'm not dipping this back in the paint, but just kind of putting a little bit of white on there. Just to kind of make it stand out just a little bit more. Thank you, Dawn. It's like one of my most popular to-date signs in the history of my business. This and one of the popsicles. And it's something different. It's not an apple or, you know, not that anything's wrong with an apple, but I did, Amy. You should be getting it any day now. I mailed it. Saturday or Sunday. I was really late, and I'm sorry, but you know why. So yeah, you should get it. You should get it soon. So now I'm going to take the black and just outline the banner here, and I'm just using a super thin, long paintbrush. These really long scripty brushes are great, but you have to go very slow when you use them. If you go too fast, they do not work as well. The brush kind of has to follow behind. Has anybody ever like used icing, like to ice like a cake to make like little, like, you know, like patterns, you know, what out of the, you know, have to kind of go slow. You kind of gotta really go slow because it follows behind you. That you have to do that with these too. Actually, Amy, I think I might have mailed those out Friday. Anyway. So hopefully now. Voila, that one's done. Now I just tie a string here, and it's really cute. This is purple. It doesn't look like it, but you can kind of see. See how the colors are a little bit different. Well, you know, Dawn, you probably wish your kids were so small to gift teachers until they were, and then you'd be like, oh yeah, I forgot how much work this is. And I'm just kidding. Why is it that we can always we always look back and be like, oh, I remember those days. Those were so great. But then we forget about all the other stuff that comes along with it. Like, I think, my daughter is graduating high school. And so we're doing these senior baskets to some of the other kids. And so I adopted 3 to do senior basket for. And so I have to go out and buy all that stuff and put it all together. And I love doing that kind of stuff. But then at the same time, I'm like, oh, God, why did I volunteer to do it? I'm going to paint these little, if y'all saw me doing a live painting a big one of these, I made them these little ones. And so I was going to paint them, put their name on it. And, they keep it as an ornament or something. And so then I'm just like, oh, I'm still going to do all that, which I love doing stuff like that. But then, when you do this for a living, and sometimes it's, it's just like your dog. So anyway, yeah, you forget about all the other things that come along with, I was thinking about this the other day. So I have a 5-year-old and a 17-year-old. And I'm sad that my 17-year-old is graduating high school. It's very, it has me very sad, because I'm not ready for it. And I'm just like, oh, where did the time go? It just went by so fast. And I just wish she was little again. And I'm just saying all this other stuff. And then my 5-year-old's coming up to me and I'm just like, oh, I don't want to play Barbies. I don't want to do this. Here I am just in one breath saying oh, I wish Jackie was little again. And I just remember when she was little and we used to do this and I don't want her to grow up. But then I have Abby here is little and asking me to, or just talking nonstop all the time. And you're just like, oh, can I just think for a second? Just let me think for a second. It's we can never, ever appreciate fully what we have. We always think back and go, oh, but then you'd have 1 week of that and you'd be like, oh my God, okay, I'm ready for you to be big now. I like that relationship better. We're just, it's just human nature, I guess. Just the way it is. Okay, there we go. 2 signs. So Amy, senior year is going to be tough. My 2 oldest graduated from alternative school, so we didn't have a big graduation. My son is special needs and may not graduate, so I'm waiting on the last 2 to graduate next year. And the following is hard. It's hard. She wasn't my oldest one, too. My oldest, I have a 26-year-old, and I was sad when she graduated, but more like with her dance stuff, oh, it's the last pep rally, or oh, it's the last football game, like that. But I wasn't sad at graduation. And she's going to college and it was an hour away, so and not a lot was changing, but it is hitting me a little bit different with the second one. I don't know, it's weird because she's not my last, she's my middle. But it's been very hard. It's been very hard. I'm one of those emotional moms that just could start crying at any minute. I'm so sad. And I don't know, it's just, I don't know. I think it's just because you start to realize, as you get older, you're starting to realize that again, I have a 26-year-old, I know how fast the time goes by with your kids, but also I was, 30, how old was I? 37 or 38 when she graduated. And so, now I'm 46, and 38 to 46 is, it's a lot of years. And so I think you just kind of start to come to the realization, everybody else's kids are graduating and all the kids are growing up and none of them are little anymore, except for me. I have a little one. None of my other friends do. But you just start like realizing that time, like that time is going by fast. And like not only is your child graduating from high school, but now you're this age, and those last 10 years went by so fast. The next 10 years are going to go by so fast. Like it just, I guess, just kind of brings that reality of how quickly that time goes by, and just that change. I don't know, I can just understand how people feel that are like empty nesters. Even though I still have a 5-year-old at home, like I still feel that same emotion. Like, what am I going to do with my time? Like, I mean, obviously, again, I still have Abby, but it's just different. Like, it's just different. I'm going from 2 kids at home to 1 kid at home. And I don't know, it just is very, it just gives you an appreciation of those years and how quickly those years go by, and how you're just kind of moving into a new stage of life. And you may or may not be ready for that new stage of life. Like you're just like, I'm not ready to be the parent with older kids, and I'm not ready for that yet, because you still, like, in your mind, you identify yourself as like being that 30-something-year-old parent. I don't know, it's weird. And I'm sure any of you that have older kids understand what I'm talking about. Like, it's just you're just closing chapters and moving into a new phase. And although you're excited about your new phase, you're also kind of mourning that old chapter in life. Amy says, I'm 42 and a grandma, which has really caused that. Yeah, like, it's like, wow, okay, I'm here. Like, you just, like, I'm here. This is where I am. Like, this is happening. Like, you can start thinking about your parents when they were that age. And I don't know, it's just it's just very, I don't know how to, like, not eye-opening, but just very, like, reality check. Like, okay, we're moving here, anyway. And I'm sure people older than me are like, yeah, enjoy it, just as I am to people younger than me that say that. Like, we all, like, go through those phases. And it's just, the life just goes by fast. Goes by fast. Enjoy it. Do things you love. Paint more, letter more. If that's something that you enjoy and you get enjoyment out of, like, that time goes by fast. Like, I feel like there's always going to be things to do, right? You're always going to have a lot to do. Like, for me personally, like, making the time, obviously I do this for a living, so I don't have to make time, but I do have to make time to do things, like, for me. Like, it's one thing painting orders, but, like, maybe I want to make something for my own house, or I want to sit down and just do some hand lettering that's fun, that's not like a lesson that I'm going to need to teach, or a design that I'm going to sell. Like, I just want to make something fun for me. And it's very easy to constantly say, I don't have the time. 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 But you have to make the time, period. I don't care who you are or how busy you are. You have to make the time, or you're not ever going to have time. Like, life is not going to slow down. I'm coming to that realization. Like, why is life so busy? Why? I thought things were supposed to slow down. It's not going to. It's not going to. So if you don't make the time, that time is going to slip by, and you're just always, for the rest of your life, going to say, I'll do that when I get time. So I've just noticed, if I do intentionally make time, like, I do this for a living, and I joined my my friend Amy at Amy and Art. She has a tier tray crafting club that she just started a couple months ago, and I signed up for that. And she was like, Jennifer, why'd you do that? You can cut this stuff out yourself. Like, why are you paying this and doing this? Because if I pay for it, then I'm going to make myself make the time to do it. If I don't, then it's always going to be pushed to, the back burner. And I know that it's the only way that I can kind of hold myself accountable to making sure that I do it and get it done. because otherwise there's just always going to be an excuse in the way. There's always going to be something else that needs to be done. And so I feel like, you know, it is a little bit of extra money that I probably do not need to be spending, but yeah, make the time today. Yes, Dawn, do it. Maybe I could do that lettering template in our club, and we can make signs that say that. Maybe that should be our door hanger. But yeah, like if you like, I don't need to spend the money on it. I don't, but I know if I don't, that I won't make myself do it, right? Like when you pay, you play. So it's a good thing about groups is it kind of just holds you accountable. It's like a gym membership, you know, like if you don't pay for a gym membership, you're probably not going to go to the gym unless you're like me, in which case you're not going to go anyway. But, you know, it's, you know, like you force yourself to do it. Like this month I was behind and I knew she was getting ready to do the next boxes out, and I still hadn't finished the spring one because those weeks go by fast. And I was like, okay, she's getting ready to mail out the next box. Like, I've got to get this done. I paid for this. I need to be able to put it up and enjoy it, right? So I forced myself to finish it. And it doesn't take that long. But in your mind, like, you know, you have to make that time. And so I forced myself to finish it. I finished it. I got it put up. And it's like, it's so nice to look at it and go, I made that for myself. It wasn't an example that I had to make, you know, for work, or I didn't have to use these colors because that's what everybody else likes, but I want to do it this, like I could just do it for myself. And it's just like, sometimes we just have to kind of hold ourselves accountable in those sort of ways in order to get it done, you know? And if you really think about it, door hanger takes you 2 hours to paint, or 2.5 hours if you're, you know, just starting out. Like in a whole month of time, 2.5 hours. Like you could even break it down 30 minutes here, 30 minutes here, 30 minutes here. Like if you can't give yourself 2 hours in a month, like, come on, we can. We waste so much time. I waste so much time on social media, just like logging in to go look at my my business page, like I'm doing it for work, but then I get sidetracked with this and I go down this rabbit hole, and 1 hour later I'm like, what was I doing? Like, well, sorry, there's an ad in here. There was an hour right there. Like, you have to just be more intentional about it. I do this with my 5-year-old. She'll say, Mommy, can you play with me tonight? And I'm like, I don't have time. I don't have time. I've got all this stuff to do. I've got all this, blah, blah, blah. And then I say to myself, okay, Jennifer, come on. Like, you don't have 20 minutes, just 20 minutes in the evening to sit down and play with her. Like, come on. You do. You just have to, like, you have to be intentional about it. You have to not waste time doing things that are not important. And I don't know. I always found that doing the things that I seem to put off, you know, and I struggle with this in my business too. Okay. Like when I do online courses that I wrote, and it took me a while to write this because it was a lot of work on the front end. And even though, like, I'm going to make money on it on the back end, you have to sacrifice that time to put, it was a lot of hours of work, like a lot of work. And it's like, okay, I don't have time. I kept pushing it off. And let me just get these signs done first, or let me just do this first, and then I'll work on it. And I was noticing, like, just a month would go by, another month would go by, I still haven't worked on it because I had to do this other stuff first. So what I started doing was getting up in the morning and working on the courses for an hour first before I did anything else. And I just have plenty of time to do it. I just did that first before all the other stuff, because I know I'm going to get the orders done. I know I'm going to get that out. But what I'm not going to get out and done is this. So you just have to we just have to make ourselves do it, right? Like Amy said, I would love to join the crafting club through Amy for that exact reason. I always push off what I'd like to do for all this other stuff, and money is always a factor. I hear you. Like, I hear you, because I'm the same way. I'm the same way. I feel really guilty about spending that money because I don't really need to right now. But I also know that when we do stuff for ourselves, you know, we show up better. We show up as a better mom. We show up as a better friend, wife. We're happier because we're not always feeling like we're giving to everybody else. Because when you're a mom, right, you give to everybody else all the time, but and sometimes, although we love to give to our children and our husbands and our, you know, jobs and all of the things, like we enjoy it, right? Probably for the most part. But there's a little piece of you sometimes, and you would not be a normal mom. I worked for an OBGYN for 18 years. I talked to women every single day for 18 years. I know this is normal. But there's a little piece of you gets a little resentful on the inside, you know, just like, oh, everybody wants a piece of me. Like, when am I going to get to do something that I want to do? Like, I'm always giving to everybody else, you know, and it gets frustrating sometimes. And although we would never change it for the world, right? Like, we enjoy doing it. We love doing it. We also know that we have to give to ourselves too. So it's, you know, I find that when I do allow myself to do something for myself like that, which is not very often at all, that I kind of just show up a little bit differently in other cases. And I don't get so frustrated or irritated on the days that, you know, are really busy and you're just, you know, your kids are following you to the bathroom and you can't have 1 second to yourself. You know, it gives you something to look forward to, something that you do for just yourself. So, you know, I justify it as, you know, like, I can always make them for gifts for people, like for Christmas or whatever. You know. Anyway, that's my spiel on that. So, okay. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I'm going to go finish all of the other orders that I have to do today, but I appreciate it. This is good. It's just as therapeutic for me as hopefully it was for you. I love this time and just to hang out and chat and craft and, you know, see you guys. So y'all have a good day. And if you have any questions on anything, feel free to message me. And one of the different places that I just kidding. And I hope everybody has a good day, and I will see you guys very soon.